Major relief for the Congress party. The Income Tax Department has now assured the Supreme Court that it will not take coercive steps to recover its demand of rupees 3,500 crores in penalties and taxes from the grand old party in light of the April-June general elections. The Income Tax Department, represented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, submitted before the court that it will not be resorting to any urgent action to retrieve the money from the party. However, amidst the temporary relief for the Congress and speculations over the income tax discrepancies, the question now truly arises is, will all political parties come clean about their respective incomes? Is it time for them to actually reveal how much they earn? We take this conversation forward. I have with me Deshratan Nigam, political analyst, Pooja Tripathi of the Congress also with us, Mukesh Tyagi of the BJP with us, Sharad Kohli, senior economist, also with us on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation with Pooja Tripathi. Pooja, big relief there for the Congress party. The Income Tax Department has assured that even though tax demands have been raised against the Congress party, but no action will be taken before the election. So the Congress will be able to access its bank accounts and have the freedom to hold its political campaigns. However, in light of a lot of conversation now going around political transparency and overall transparency around funding, which is something that the Congress party also spoke highly about as far as the electoral bonds case was concerned, what are the plans of the grand old party? Is there a plan to at least make your own income transparent?
Devika, this judgment comes too little too late. The country is aware how government is throttling opposition voices, be it unilateral action by ED or the heavy income tax notices that our party received. And now they have come in court that they'll not take any action. They're making a temporary hold on any IT action. But the question still remains the same what Congress raised 2 days before. That when we compared the Form 24A uploaded on Election Commission's website by Bharatiya Janata Party, in the same financial year, where Congress has been penalized some close to 3,567 crore of rupees, the same financial year, Bharatiya Janata Party got 1297 donations, unnamed, unaddressed, unaccounted, and this amounted to 42 crore. If we apply the same mathematics, the Bharatiya Janata Party owes IT department 4,600 crore rupees of funds. Why is IT department willfully neglecting BJP's fraud practices? You said about political transparency. I think that's a very valid point. Every party should come clean on what they have done with the 42 crore that has been deposited by the 1297 unaccounted donors. Also, the biggest question here is when it comes to political transparency is the issue of electoral bonds. The whole chronology of electoral bonds is before the nation when a company was being raided by IT and ED, and 1 week later they deposited some 100 crores to electoral bonds and they went scot-free. A company donated to electoral bonds and the telecommunication bill was passed without opposition members being in the parliament and the tendering was dissolved. A company donated to electoral bonds and just a month later, just 15 days later, they are given government contracts for 47,000 crores, for 15,000 crores. I think this needs to come. The Bharatiya Janata Party needs to come clean on this huge, massive corruption that's an electoral bond. And when it comes to IT department, my question and my party's question still remains the same. When will IT department act on Bharatiya Janata Party's 42 crores unaccounted, unaddressed?
I'll take that question. To Mukesh Tyagi. But Pooja, my question still remains.
Yeah.
Given that the Congress party really wanted and was fighting for funds transparency as far as electoral bonds cases were concerned, what about the intentions of the Congress party itself? Yes, the BJP was the largest recipient of funding from electoral bonds, but it's not as though the Congress party received absolutely no donations. Does the Congress party have any plans on declaring their income?
I agree that Congress party was a beneficiary of electoral bond, but we have to look at the dubious pattern that has emerged. Congress was not in the position of power to enable that dubious practices. What I said, ED raid, You donate to electoral bonds and then you go
No, but my
scot.
question is very simple, Dr. Tripathi. Does the Congress party ever plan on disclosing its own income? That's it. It's a yes or no.
Congress parties, every penny received. We went to Janta, we went to the common people for donations, and every penny received has its complete details on the Congress website and is shared with the IT department too. The matter that has been raised that there has been cash transfer, it's before IT department too. Every penny raised that we have raised, be it 100 rupees, be it 1100, be it 11,000 or 1 lakh, everything is just crystal clear. We weren't in the business of knowing who didn't, we were not in the
Okay.
business of hiding from the public that who is donating to electoral bonds and what benefits have been given to them. That's the bigger and the question that lies below the iceberg. That the amount of benefits that have been accorded to these parties who donated to electoral bonds, it's huge and it speaks of massive corruption there underneath there.
Okay, all right. Mukesh Tyagi, I bring the question of the Congress party to you as well. How does the BJP then respond? And just largely, is there any thought on within the party as far as transparency is concerned, political funding transparency is concerned? How does one solve this matter? Because it is, of course, the right of the public to know which political party gets its money from where.
No, I think it's a declared policy of Bharatiya Janata Party and Prime Minister Modi ji that we need to have a highest degree of transparency, no corruption, zero tolerance for corruption. And the problem is happening is right now that entitlement on the corruption, which Congress had been hitherto operating in a very successful way, and they ruled this country. They laid down the foundation of crony capitalism. They laid down the foundation of income tax. SSEs were absolutely called for questioning. For the first time, I think Nirmala Sitharaman ji in 2019 brought the faceless taxation. And that is one of the very, very robust evidence how BJP government believes that there should not be any kind of coercion or any kind of extortion. This was the legacy of Congress party. With the electoral bond debate has undergone lots of water, and you know it that the central objective was to bring the transparency in the political donations, and they were also part of the proceedings in the parliament. So today they are raising a hue and cry, absolutely trying to hide their own double and multiple standard. Now the point is, the issue is they are defending it very preposterously. The July 6, 2021, 30 days notice was served by the income tax department to Congress. They did not follow it up. What happened in October 28? Again, the follow-up notice was sent by the income tax department to Congress. They did not pay any heed to it. Now they say that donation came from member of parliament, from member of legislative assemblies. That is not the issue. Issue is that you have violated the laws and you have violated. And there is one congressman was saying that political parties are completely exempted from income tax. Can you imagine the kind of preposterous argument Congress is taking? So they have been delinquent. They have been lackadaisical. They have been coming out with a very, very lame excuses. We don't have the money to run the elections. They could have complied very easily those notices, but they felt that nobody has a right to question Congress. And that's the reason today they are in trouble. No, I think court has given them a respite till elections. No coercion will happen by the income tax department. They should welcome it. But as far as the assessment is concerned, they need to come absolutely forthright. And they cannot hide it. If they have any issue against BJP, they can go to the court and file the case against us. But if they cannot just wash away their hands by saying it's a tax terrorism, which is absolutely not acceptable. Why they are not following the laws? Why they are not filing the returns? And look at the sequence of activities. They went to Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. They lost out there on 8th of March, and the same order was upheld by the High Court. Why you think judicial process also stands compromised? They are also endorsing the tax terrorism. They are going through the merits of the matter, and they found that you have been in a breach of the Income Tax Act, and therefore you are being penalized. And if they are doing their action, they're saying it's a politically motivated. So fine, your political motivation is over. Now you have a respite till, but tomorrow again you will see to it. They'll not be able to cooperate with the income tax authorities. They'll come out with some of the excuse. They're already implicated in National Herald case. They are receiving cash. 360 crores was found in Sahu's closet. So this is the kind of malpractices Congress was used to it. They are not able to come out of that comfort zone. When somebody challenges this comfort zone, they create they cry hue and cry. So this is something which are absolutely not acceptable. They should follow the law.
Okay, all right. I'm going to bring in Deshrata Nigam into the conversation. Deshrata Nigam, given what has happened recently as far as the income tax notices are concerned and some major figures of over 3,000 crores worth of penalties and taxes coming out of that, at the same time, the whopping figures that have come out as far as the electoral bonds information is concerned. Yes, of course, political parties have to run, and they also, like any other organization in the world, run on money. And yes, one can argue that political parties itself are private entities and therefore they are not liable to really disclose their income. But at the end of the day, one has to pay their taxes. How does one now go about making the entire concept of cash in politics as transparent as possible?
Well, Devika, let me tell you, after the Supreme Court struck down the electoral bond scheme, there are no provisions as to how to check the cash flow in the system of the electoral funding. And we have gone back to the old days. Although there is another scheme of electoral trust, where the corporate houses form trust, which was actually started by the Congress in 2009, when Pranab Mukherjee had introduced that particular scheme as the finance minister. And the various trusts formed then donate money to the various political parties. And that's already running. And that's a transparent scheme, and that's where the accounts are also audited. Here, the problem is there are two aspects to the Congress notice. One, where the demand notice was crystallized and finalized after the opportunities were given to the Congress. They did not initially respond to the initial notices, and then they filed after not, when the demand were raised, then they filed an appeal before the Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals, where they were asked to deposit minimum 20% of the demand which had already been finalized. There, the Congress failed. This was recorded in Delhi High Court also, where they said the mess that has been created is on account of the Congress's default. It is a part, and therefore the relief was denied out there. And there, 135 crore rupees have been recovered, and with a lien also, some with a lien. Now, the second set of notices, which have been issued for about 3,575 crores odd rupees, is only the notices have been issued. The demand has not been finalized after the hearing. They have to go for hearing. Therefore, the Income Tax Department, through the Solicitor General, clearly submitted that they will not take any coercive steps. Coercive steps can only be taken once the after notice hearing has been given, a decision on the demand is finalized. And if you do not deposit that money, then only coercive steps are taken. Here only it is at the stage of first notice itself, on the hearing stage. Therefore, it is very obvious. Even Income Tax Department, before finalizing the demand, cannot take any steps, coercive steps. So the Income Tax Department itself made a submission in Supreme Court that no coercive steps they will be taking, and that has been recorded, which is fine. This is the process under the law. So this is nothing new. Even if I get a 143.3 notice, a demand notice comes, and you take and participate in a hearing. And once an order comes that you have to submit, you have to pay that demand, then only, if you refuse to pay, then only coercive steps are taken. Here, the adjudication has not taken place in the fresh notices that have come. So it is very natural. Nobody can take coercive steps unless and until demand is finalized, and then a party refuses to pay. So far as transparency is concerned, it is expected that all political parties must come out clean. Till 2014, it was the Congress which was getting lion's shares of donations. Subsequently, it was the BJP, which is natural, and because being a largest party and giving a very stable government and with lot of infrastructure push, therefore, in the minds of people when they make donations, there are a number of factors. And unless and until a clear finding is there, I would not be able to say quid pro quo, because quid pro quo has to be established. Unless otherwise, I will be subject to defamatory, suit in a court of law.
Yes.
And so, and presently what is happening today is the exemptions that you get under the income tax the political parties get is cash donations up to 2,000 rupees only an individual can deposit. Beyond that, you have to take electoral bonds, which was already there. Now it has been scrapped. So if you have taken more than 2,000 rupees as a donation, then no exemptions are granted under 13(a)(d) of the Income Tax Act. There, you have to suffer penalty, you have to suffer interest on it. That is what happened in the first notice. And to make it worse, Congress did not even respond to the notice, and therefore it was mandatory under the law when you file an appeal that you have to deposit 20%. So all said and done is fine. We need to have a scheme. Even the Supreme Court in electoral bond scheme said this is not the only way of tackling the black money. There could be other ways, without suggesting what could be other ways. And I believe when the parliament is elected and new parliament comes up, they'll have to apply their mind, find a scheme which is better than the electoral bond scheme. And as of now, I think all of us would agree there is a vacuum so far as electoral funding is concerned, and the cash flow might be too much in this particular. Here, I think Election Commission would be seeing very busy days with the help of income tax departments and the raids that might take place in order to ensure free and fair elections.
Okay, Sharad Kohli, bring you into the conversation. Sharad, when some of these figures then really do come out into the public domain, as they have with the electoral bonds case, and now some, over 3,000 crores worth of penalties against the Congress, there are some charges against the TMC, the CPI, CPIM, all of them now facing income tax notices. The Bharatiya Janata Party itself looking at thousands of crores in electoral bonds. What are your thoughts? The fact that the Income Tax Department has raised these concerns right now, but is also saying that it's election time, so let that get over before we retrieve monies, does that seem then largely fair also? Because the same, I believe, the same would not be offered to the common man. The same sort of relief would possibly not be offered to a common person.
Well, thank you, Devika, and good evening to NewsX viewers and to my fellow panelists. Yes, you're right. I mean, this is a very special favor being given to Congress, and I think Congress should be happy. I'm sure Dr. Pooja should be very relieved because she's a very astute speaker. I respect her for her thoughts, and it's very relieving. And but the word of caution here is that it is just a stay until elections. By no way has the matter been scrapped. By no way has the assessment been set aside. It is the recovery proceedings have been kept on hold, which means until elections, respecting the fact that Congress was repeatedly saying that, our funds are blocked. We don't have funds to buy a ticket, to print posters for advertisements and so and so. And respecting that, I think this is a democratic process and a process which has to be done. So I think that has been done. But now I'll take it forward from where Mr. Nigam left. Now, Section 13A conditions which he spoke about, there are about 6 conditions. I've spoken about these conditions earlier also. So my advice to Congress, I'm also, by the way, a tax practitioner in my capacity in a certain way. So my advice through Dr. Pooja to the Congress would be that since you've got this time, this is what you should do. If you don't want this to be the sword of Damocles to be hanging on your head just after elections, because the date is July, but the proceedings will start. First is make sure that your returns are filed on time, because then 17-18, I remember Congress did not file its return on time. And this is where I have a bit of a pain. The pain is that I feel nobody is above law. I mean, if 31st October 2018 was the date to file 17-18, then an income tax gave time until December. But somehow I think probably the accounting team or the treasurers or whatever, whosoever are the people behind this, they probably took it lightly and they filed in February. That is violative of Section 13, that if you don't file your return on time. My second advice is please maintain your books of account on time. The third is get an audit done. Fourth is, as Mr. Nigam said, you cannot now accept more than ₹2,000 rupees in cash. You cannot accept more than cash for 2,000. And next is that over ₹20,000 donations, you have to keep a record. So the record has to be kept. And the last condition is that record has to be submitted to the Election Commission also. So in the span of, this is specifically addressed to Dr. Pooja and all the supporters of Congress, that the entire span of those 5-6 years from 17-18 to 2021, when the demands have been raised, make sure that these 6 conditions are fulfilled. And in fact, this is the very reason why the demands have come. So whereas, I mean, it may smell of political vendetta or whatever are the accusations, the fact of the matter is that the law is taking its own course. I mean, if I as a common taxpayer, if I do those defaults, and being a tax practitioner, I handle a lot of people's taxation. well, notices for us is normal. I mean, you get so many notices for so many violations. If I list out the violations, Income Tax Act 1961 is very wide. There could be dozens and dozens of violations. So anybody violating, I think what happened here was there was a bit of a complacency. Probably Congress thought, with due respect, Congress thought that we are a grand old party, we are above law. How can recoveries being made from us under 13A political parties are exempt? But what they forgot was that 13A exemption can be withdrawn. If you are faltering on these 6 conditions, the exemption would be withdrawn. And what does withdrawal mean? That all your political contributions, from contributions, income from house property, income from capital gain, all your receipts will become taxable. That's precisely what, this is where I wanted to correct Mukesh also, that political party receipts are actually exempt under Section 38, totally and completely.
Absolutely right.
They are not,
you are right.
But if you violate the conditions, then, and somebody was asking me the other day, and in fact, Dr. Pooja was saying that why are BJP cases not? Because Congress went to the press. Quite possible, I don't know. Quite possible that BJP also may be in dispute with certain cases, because these cash donations from various sources are very difficult to handle. People come forward, they come with a very philanthropic mind, they come for various, emotions. Now, it's very difficult to keep track, maintain name, keep it in the books, record it in the books properly. Maybe there are certain cases going on for BJP also. There may be some small notices but then when a press conference is done and you are washing your dirty linen in public, then people come to know. And, so the accusation whether BJP is all clean will only be known with the BJP treasury. But they haven't gone to the press and they are yelling out that, look, action has been taken on us. So my advice is that please stay within the parameters of law, be a law-abiding citizen as far as Congress is concerned, is my word of advice, Devika, with all due respect.
All right. Pooja, I'll let you respond to what you've heard, and then I'll leave the last word with Mukesh as well.
You want me to? Okay.
Pooja, go ahead, please.
Dr. Sharad's advice, his suggestions as a tax specialist, tax practitioner is duly noted. And thank you for that. But my question again remains the same. You say that BJP might have been served notices. My question is again the same when I started this argument. When will BJP, why is IT department willfully neglecting? See, timing is very crucial here. You cannot just say that, we have defaulted on our returns and we are standing at the cusp of a national elections. 19th April are the first phase of election, and that's exactly when not only our accounts have been freezed, we cannot operate, we don't have a penny to operate financially, and definitely when and cases.
But Pooja, as far as timing is concerned, one could say the same about the electoral bonds case as well. Why now?
Electoral bonds case has been struck unconstitutional by Supreme Court.
I'm not questioning the judgment.
Pooja, this is also court.
I'm not questioning the judgment of the court. I'm saying when you're talking about timing, the electoral bonds.
2017, it was criticized from day one, and people have been.
I want to ask a question from Dr. Pooja.
Before that. So why now? Why take the matter to the electoral bonds?
The electoral bonds
Can I ask one question?
Yes,
Can I ask one question,
one
Pooja?
second. One second.
One question, only one question, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Why you are if you have the robust defense, if you have a very high efficacy of argument, why are you losing in Income Tax Tribunal and High Court, and why are you losing judicially then? Give me the answer.
That's what I'm saying when I say that this unilaterally targeted action on opposition at the cusp of general election.
You mean to say courts are compromised?
You are sending ED on the doors of every opposition leaders.
I'm asking you, is court compromised? I'm asking you a question. Is court compromised?
It was all scot-free. That's what I'm saying. It's a unilateral, brazen.
Dr. Pooja, are you saying that courts are compromised?
Disable them financially, to disable them.
She will not answer this question.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why we came with a press conference and presented.
Pooja, okay, that's your prerogative, and that's the call of the party. Sharad is okay to give his own opinion and his 2 bits on it. Of course, it's a larger decision of the party. But the question then remains: you're saying that this is an attempt that the government, the ruling party, is using all possible agencies to cripple the opposition. That's the basic point that is being raised by the opposition. Duly noted. The question then arises is, when you take these matters to the court, why is it that the court is not then supporting the stance of the opposition? The court
Absolutely.
said, the Delhi High Court said that there is clearly in the papers of the Income Tax Department as well enough evidence to prove that yes, some measures have to be taken now against the Congress party, which has not declared certain sections of its income during certain years.
That's what I'm saying. When court has said this, and when an IT department has served us notice,
Yes.
a mammoth notice of 3,000, why isn't in the same financial year, Form 24A is in front of everyone? Why the same amount of notice is not being served to Bharatiya Janata Party for 42 crore unaccounted donations is our question that we have been repeatedly asking.
Okay, Sharad
Why is
wants to come in there. Sharad wants to come in there and I need to wrap up as well.
I can, Dr. Pooja, because this is technical, I can answer. See, the facts of the case, Dr. Pooja, may not be similar to the way they are. So each case, I'm a lawyer as well. Each case is taken on merit. If the facts are not similar, there is no need to serve the notice in that case. It's as simple as, the answer to your question is very simple.
Dr. Kohli, Form 24A is on the Election Commission's website. It's in full public disclosure.
Maybe there is inquiry going, but it's not
unaccounted, unaddressed. And that's 1297 accounts that have made donations. It's in full public disclosure. And if IT department had served a notice of 4,800 crore to Bharatiya Janata Party, you and me would be knowing this. It would not have been in, it would not have been in hiding. You and me would be knowing this. And that's what I'm making a point.
Okay.
That's why this
All right. Mukesh wants to make a last point. Mukesh, I'll leave the last word with you.
You see, I just want to highlight an example. For example, department insistence to file the returns was December 31st, 2018, and Congress with great difficulty filed on February 2, 2019. Now, if what she's trying to say that why notice is not being, if we are filing the returns on time, and if that is subject to the scrutiny by the Income Tax Department, if they find any discrepancy, they'll serve the notice to us. But you people even don't serve your returns on time. And that is the reason why income tax has taken cognizance of many delinquencies in you. If you had given a proper account at the right time, you would not have received. So secondly, Dr. Pooja has failed to respond that courts are also compromised. That is what she's trying to say indirectly, that we are trying to influence the judicial process. Now they got the reprieve. We are not saying that. Court is highlighting your delinquency, Dr. Pooja. No.
Why is IT department compromising unilaterally against Bhajpa? We have not used any.
We are not saying. You are saying it. You are saying it.
Don't draw any direct or indirect references.
All right. Okay. I'm going to have to wrap it up there, but I thank all of our panelists for joining us to take this conversation forward. That's all the time that we have.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.